The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast, is brought to you by, well, of course, you. If you want to learn more about how you can support the show, go to patreon.com/expat2020. Hey everybody, welcome to The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast. I'm your host, Expat2020, along with my co-host Dan. How you doing, Dan?
Hello, yeah, I'm all right. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Just, I want to wish everybody out in my home country, out in the U.S., a great Thanksgiving weekend. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving dinner and hopefully stayed home during Black Friday and all the shopping madness. But hope everybody has a safe holiday weekend. I'm doing good, man. Doing good. And today we have a special guest with us. She's a friend of mine and a fellow Twitch streamer, Mocha Butter. So Mocha Butter, welcome to the show today.
Thank you so much, Expat. How are you today?
Doing good. It's getting a little colder out here in Japan. Dan, how's the weather holding up out there in the UK?
It's bloody freezing. Yeah, it's really cold. Yesterday we had like freezing fog, which is really early. You couldn't see anything. You couldn't see like 2 foot in front of your face. The fog was really thick, and it was nuts. But it's very exciting, very Christmassy.
Freezing fog. That sounds intense for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah. So, Mocha, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and what got you into gaming and what got you into live streaming on Twitch?
Yeah, so as far as what got me into gaming, I guess I started just like most people did. My dad brought a PS1 home one day and a Spyro disc, and the rest is pretty much history. So I kind of drifted away from consoles kind of around the mobile console revolution with, DSs and stuff, and kind of come back around to, the good old console life with the Xbox One X. And I just really refound my passion for gaming about, I guess maybe a year and a half ago. And I graduated college as a public relations major. So when I graduated, I kind of wanted to take on a weird project and see what I could get myself into. And I took on streaming originally as a bit of a branding project to see if I could brand myself and create a brand. And it was also a good opportunity just to learn something new. And I had always wanted to do podcasting, but unfortunately don't really have the patience to edit a podcast after the fact. So streaming was kind of my solution, and I've been doing it for about a year. It'll be a year in January.
Awesome.
Well done.
And what have you been playing this week?
Dead by Daylight has been my big obsession for about the last week and a half. And of course, The Elder Scrolls Online every opportunity I get.
Cool. Awesome. Well, welcome. And we are really happy to have you on the show today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Cool. So before jumping into what Dan and I have been playing, I want to tell everyone out there that you can head over to The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast, where you can find us on any podcast app for iOS or Android, as well as on Spotify. Just download your favorite podcast app or open Spotify and search for The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast. Subscribe, follow us, post a review, and leave us questions, comments, and feedback if you like, if that feature is available there, and spread the word about the podcast. We also have a website for the podcast at expat2020.podbean.com, where you can follow us and leave questions and comments as well. Also, if you'd like to support the show and become a patron to get early access to every episode and listen ad-free, along with other perks, including the post-show, please visit patreon.com/expat2020 for further details. You can also follow us on Twitter at The Arena, AMPGNP, which stands for a multi-platform gaming news podcast. Finally, the podcast will also be uploaded to my YouTube channel at Expat2020 Gaming, so you can go there to listen and subscribe and click that notification bell for future podcast episodes, and also leave any comments or questions you might have that we might read on a future episode. Now, Dan, I'm still playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla,
Of course you are.
and it's starting to feel like
A
a
grind?
Marvel movie now.
Oh, interesting. Explain.
Yeah. Well, the reason I say that is because the Marvel movies like Thor Ragnarok,
Yeah.
running and roping around Asgard and fighting the Bifrost, I think it was in the films. There's a
That's how you
section
travel,
in the game. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
there's a section in the game where you go into this vision and you go into Asgard and then you have to fight the Bifrosts. So it kind of reminds me
Wow.
of
You mean, yeah.
yeah. So it kind of reminds me of the Thor Ragnarok and the some of the Marvel films with Thor in it. But
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Sounds
so
wacky.
yeah, it's fun. And as we were talking about before, how at the beginning of the game I chose to let the Animus decide which character I would be, which male or female Eivor I would be, and I had been playing. So far, I've been playing as the female Eivor all throughout the game. I'm about 25 hours in now, but that particular section where I went to Asgard, I'm playing as the male character.
All right. Okay.
And then once the vision ends, I switch back. Once she wakes up, I switch back to the female Eivor. So it's quite interesting. Yeah,
It's very interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So Dan, what have you been playing this week?
I've been playing a bit of. I'm still playing Sakuna of Rise and Ruin, AAA game. I've been raging though. Oh my god, it's some of it's really, really rage inducing, but it's still amazing. And like the rice, I mean, the already deep and involved rice growing simulator just gets more and more and more. They keep adding stuff to it. Like I've now got worried about like pests. It's crazy. It's really good though. It's lots of fun. And I started Animal Crossing again because I wanna get ready for Christmas because I love Christmas.
Love Animal Crossing.
Right. So the
Love
big
it.
update's going to kick off. I think it might even be today. It kicks off. The whole winter stuff starts very soon. So yeah,
Yes.
excited.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So let's go ahead and jump into the news beat. We have I think 4 stories today in the news beat. So the first story, Cyberpunk 2077 developers prepare a feature for content creators that disable copyrighted music. So this one, Mocha, is like right up your alley, I think, basically.
Yeah.
So and for most of us streamers. So basically what they're doing is in the game, they're going to have like a feature of over 150 songs that are created by different artists representing diverse genres, for example. But the problem is that, there's been a lot of problems with copyright issues in the games where people have and live streamers have had their VODs basically muted or even taken off. So what they're going to be doing in Cyberpunk now is they're going to have a feature. It's called a disable copyright music toggle. So basically you'll have the option to set that toggle so that no copyrighted music will be in the game at all. Yeah. So and it's stressing on the Cyberpunk site. It was stressing that you should enable this option before you start streaming if you're worried about having any kind of copyrighted music flagged in the game.
Right.
So how do you feel about this, Mocha? How do you feel about what they're doing with Cyberpunk and having this particular disable copyright music toggle?
I mean, I definitely think it's interesting. I mean, I think the whole situation with the copyrighted music it's always been a thing. It's always been a rule that we're really not supposed to use copyrighted music. But for whatever reason, it's just the hammer's really come down on the streaming community in the last, 6 months or so, or the last year almost now. And it's just been it's been so very strange just to all of a sudden kind of have it ripped away because a lot of us use it as an opportunity to, not only play music in our stream that we recognize, but also share, new music that we find and kind of have that additional touch point with our community. So I definitely think that having the option to disable it, given all the drama and conflama that has ensued because of all these DMCA shutdowns and the use of copyrighted music on stream. So I think having a toggle as an option is definitely proactive, and I definitely commend them for that, for sure.
Yeah, I'm wondering if more companies, more developing companies, for example, are going to, jump to doing this now.
Yeah, that would be the thing that I'm interested to see. Like, will everybody start jumping on the bandwagon as far as, being able to disable copyrighted music? For sure, that'll be interesting to see going forward how this plays out and how it'll also affect the feel of the game. I am interested to see, because music is such a huge part of every game that we play. And I mean, I definitely can think there's an option to turn off the music in the Elder Scrolls Online, and if sometimes even playing without the music and just listening to the ambiance is fun, but it definitely is a different experience. And for me, it takes away from the experience to not have the music. So I'm very interested to see what it's going to be like to play the game without music or without the copyrighted music.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Dan, how about you? What do you feel about this?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, like you guys said, it's a shame that Twitch is currently just such an absolute shit show for this.
It has been kind of a hot mess from beginning to end. It's really just been, it's been one thing after another.
And like, people are losing like their whole libraries over this, having to delete, years worth of material over this.
Yeah.
It's bonkers. And like the idea of, Cyberpunk, the idea is a really good one. Like you said, to have just generic or their own royalty-free music put in there. And I like this because this system, and if other companies do start doing this system, that's going to hurt the music industry, which I'm all in favor for, because the music industry deserves to be punished. Not musicians. We got to differentiate in the musicians and music industry, which are two very different things.
Mm-hmm.
So I think by maybe developers going, well, to save ourselves and our fans loads of effort, we're just going to have our own in-game music. That means the music industry won't be getting royalties for all those games. So it's a genius move to screw over the music industry. So I very much approve. But I just feel sorry. Like, one of my videos I stream on Twitch like 3 times a year.
Mm-hmm.
And, one of my videos got flagged. My Judgment. I was playing Judgment and I got flagged.
Oh no!
For having in-game music that was in the game that I was streaming. Which, let's not forget, it's still fair use.
Yeah.
It's fair use.
I mean, it's in the game. To me, it's crazy that you can't play music that's in the game.
Yeah.
The thing is like, the law is relatively, or like the clause or whatever you want to call it, is relatively clear, but there's also a little bit of wiggle room. And I guess my question is, like, if you're playing music at a house party with a bunch of your friends or playing it on a stream, like, what's the real difference? You know what I mean? Because you're just playing with lots of people listening. So, like, are you also, because technically when you purchase a song, as far as I understand the law, that you listen to it on a streaming platform, you're only observing the rights for you yourself to listen to it. So if somebody else is in a room with you listening to the song, technically you are also violating the law, the DMCA law. So it's like, are we being a little overly nitpicky about this? Like, I understand wanting to protect the artist, and I think that that's completely valid and should be taken into account. But at the same time, it's like, it just feels like there's some holes and there's some gaps that need to be filled in.
Yeah. I had a similar situation to you, Dan, also. Like, I was playing Mafia 2. And in Mafia 2, when you're in the car and you have the radio going, it's like they muted some of the music that was playing, like some of this 1950s music.
Yeah, brilliant.
Unbelievable. Yeah, 1950s music, man. Come on, But yeah,
it's weird because, like, the people, when you listen to music, you don't want to hear people talking over it. So listening to music accidentally on Twitch and listening to a dedicated service like, Spotify or Amazon Music or whatever, they're not comparable. Like, it's not like you're getting a free song by listening to someone stream on Twitch. You're not getting away with a crime because you've got someone going, oh, I'm doing X, Y, and Z. I think this about the game. I had this for my dinner. It's like, it's not comparable. It's basically, it's the same thing. It's the same thing that the music industry has been doing since the internet came along. They've realized that they're dead and they're no longer needed. So they've got to hoodwink and scam as much money out of people as they can, just because they're utterly now irrelevant. It's really frustrating to watch. Yeah, so this is so. But again, I don't know how YouTube gets a semi-free pass of it. I don't know why it's so much more
Yeah, that's
serious and prevalent on Twitch than it is on other platforms. It's really weird.
100%.
I don't get it.
It doesn't make any sense to me either. It's been so very bizarre to not have streams, at least my streams with music, because that's a big part of my stream, and I
Yeah.
absolutely agree with you. It doesn't make any sense. I feel like it's like there's some rules applied here and some rules applied there, and if Twitch is going down, I feel like YouTube is next? Question mark.
Yeah, maybe.
You know what I mean?
Rubbish.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on to story number 2. So, Dan and Mocha, how do you feel about censorship in games?
I will be completely honest, I've never really experienced or been aware that I was experiencing any type of like blatant censorship in games. So when I heard about this, I was like, that is crazy. But Dan, please.
So Dan understands because boy, in Japan they do get censored.
It's so.
I've
so
never even heard of such a thing. I didn't even realize that was a thing that they did. So this is completely news to me.
Oh yeah, like for example, some games in the past, like for example, Grand Theft Auto, some cutscenes were completely cut out of the game.
Wow.
Because of the cultural insensitivities and everything, they just cut it all out. Yeah.
Yeah. In America, we were like, give it to us all. Give all the blood and gore. Give it. Hand it over.
If you ask a Japanese teenager, they'll be doing the same thing. They'll be like, "Hey, give us all of it. We
give
want
us
it all.
The blood and the gore." Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So anyway, Ubisoft apologizes for Assassin's Creed Valhalla censorship in Japan. So basically, what happened here is there was an instance where people playing the game in Japan, they couldn't see the blood effects. You know, when you kill someone, seeing the blood spray, the blood effects and everything. So basically the developers, in Ubisoft, they blamed Japan's computer entertainment rating organization called SARA, which is, Dan, I think it's PEGI in the UK,
sort of
right?
Thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Mocha in America, it's the ESRB, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But this organization in Japan, SARA, denied that it had any involvement in the censorship. So then basically Ubisoft had to turn around, do an about face, and give a heartfelt apology for apparently making a mistake. Yeah. So a lot of the in-game, players, they thought it was just a glitch, but apparently not. So it's kind of a case of, who's at fault here? Is it really Ubisoft that was, trying to blame the rating organization, or, was it the rating organization that was, basically trying to backtrack and not take the blame for it? I don't know. Dan, what do you think about this?
Yeah, no, it's weird. I'm famous against any form of censorship at all in any media. But it's especially strange in the case of Japan, because it's quite a recent thing actually. Because previously they were all about ultra violence, gore, decapitations, all this stuff. In any
just read a manga. Just read a manga.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like famously, like things like back in the 90s, like Splatterhouse came out, and in Japan, but to make it over to the West, it actually got quite a bit of censorship. A religious iconography was removed. Some of the gore was tuned down. The best version of Kill Bill, the movie, is the Japanese version because it's ultra gory, and the bit where it turns black and white isn't black and white in Japan. It's blood red everywhere. A few recent examples. I think Red Dead Redemption 2 has been censored as well. The Order 1886. Do you remember that game?
Oh yeah. How could I forget that game? Yeah.
I like it. I generally think it's an underrated gem. I think it's brilliant. Anyway, that's by the by.
Graphically, it's super beautiful. It's probably one of the best PS4 games when it comes to graphics. Cool. Yeah.
But that had some of the cutscenes were edited for sexual content. Although you didn't actually see anything, there was some really weird cropping on the cutscenes. So I don't know. But as in terms of who's to blame, I don't know. I'm not sure how strong they are, because I know in the UK, PEGI can't really do anything. PEGI can't say, "Hey, this is too much blood." PEGI can only say, "Oh, this is a lot of blood. we're going to make this game an 18. They can't tell you to sod off. Now, the BBFC, the British Board of Film Classification, actually can. The BBFC have banned games in the UK. Manhunt 2 was banned outright. The Punisher was banned. And there's another game as well. I can't remember what it was right now. But anyway, there were like 3 games in the UK that were actually banned. But were actually allowed back on the shelves after some editing. And I don't know how much power the Japanese censorship board actually wields. Worth looking into. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, I just think, like we were talking about with like copyrighted music, I think it should just be like a toggle feature. If you want the material, you should be able to toggle it and say, okay, yeah, give it all to me. Or if you're a parent that's worried about, a young teenager, for example, playing Grand Theft Auto, then they could toggle it, have some kind of parental features or something like that. I don't know, but yeah. But just completely not giving you the choice to have it or not. I mean, that's, yeah.
Yeah.
I just like that. Yeah, the whole idea of like being told what I can and can't see as an adult, as a paying adult, being told what I can and can't see. That really bugs me.
Not trying to hear that.
Yeah. So having the option to turn it off or mandatory, like based on system settings. So if you had Assassin's Creed Valhalla and you were playing it on full gore, but your kid by default had it set to kiddie mode, then that's obviously that's the way it should be.
Yeah. Okay, story number 3 today. I've been trying to get a PS5 still. I've been going to the local electronics store called Yodobashi out here in Japan, and no luck. No. And from what the PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan has been saying is they're basically all out of stock, and one of the reasons for that maybe is this PS5 scalper group has nearly 3,500 PS5 consoles thanks to retail bots. So yeah, this is going to be a big problem, in the future, I think, unless they do some kind of regulating or whatever. But this UK-based scalper group called Crep Chief Notify, they managed to scoop up these 3,500 PS5s before or between the pre-order period and the most recent, I think, restock availability around launch. But it's like this group called Crep Chief Notify basically charges members subscription fees, I think it is, for access to their tools. And then it gives them the ability to get absurd numbers of PS5s, for example, which they can, for example, head to the sites at eBay, and they'll be like marked up significantly. Which is just a mess. And, I think it's a problem for retailers. I think it's a problem, especially for us consumers that are trying to, get in there and purchase a PS5. And then, then you have Jim Ryan coming out and saying that we're out of stock. I don't know. What do you guys think of all this? Dan, why don't you?
So I think we need to clarify then. So from the sound of things, this one group doesn't actually own 3,500 PS5s. It sounds like they've enabled other people to use their technology to buy these bots, right? Because I was going to say,
that's what it's. Yeah,
that's because I've read some of the headlines in the UK. Headlines said this one group has 3,500 PS5s. It's like, well, bollocks. Of course I haven't, because if one group is spending 1.75 million pounds on PS5s, why the bloody hell are you buying PS5s if you've got a spare 1.75 million kicking around? No, it's a broken mess, isn't it? It's the same globally. Yeah, states having a similar problem. Obviously, this is a slightly disingenuous headline for the reasons we just discussed, but oh my god, it's such a mess. I feel generally sorry, but the only way to win is to not buy from scalpers. And unfortunately, we've got lots of people who are just not very bright, who are a bit thick, who are happy to spend 900, 1,000, 1,500 pounds on a freaking 500 pound console. And until they're the real problem. if they didn't buy them, there'd be no scalpers.
Right.
So the real problem here is the idiots who spend the money. That's it.
Mocha, how do you feel about this?
I mean, I absolutely agree with Dan. I think it's kind of insane. You know, I think the issue is definitely the people who are willing to spend that insane sum to purchase the console, who are desperate enough for it. And I mean, it almost at the same time kind of baffled that they were even able to get their hands on so many of these consoles, considering how slim pickings are these days. You know what I mean? I this is the kind of the first console wars that I've been like involved in the gaming community when it was happening, or like, you know, the release of a new console set. Because when the, you know, the Xbox 360 and the Xbox Series One came out, or the Xbox One came out, I was, you know, over in Nintendo land, not really even paying attention. So it's been kind of just interesting to see just what has been happening with the consoles, and you know, with the added effect of the pandemic, it's just a little insane. And I think the level of frenzy is a little higher than it probably normally would be. I mean, you know, like I said, this is the first time I've ever really been in the mix of it all when it's all going down. So I you know, I can't really speak from experience, but I think it's something about this particular, you know, release. You know, I think it probably is 100% the pandemic, and also now that we're moving into this next generation of gaming, that everybody is just like rabid. And I think, and it's you know, I get it, new consoles are really exciting, but I kind of fear the hype train a little bit, and I think that's definitely contributing to, you know, their ability to not only acquire all of these consoles, but, you know, the people's incessant need to spend, you know, 3 times what they normally would on the console just to get their hands on it.
Can we also say, like, well done for Sony, absolutely hammering the crap out of Microsoft again at launch. It's nuts. Like, how has this happened? On paper, like, the Xbox is the better. Well, I can't put enough quote marks around better, because what does that even mean? But again, like, even out the gate, it looks like Sony's won this generation. Like, out the gate, it's like 4-1 of like PS5 sales to Xbox sales. It's anyway. Well
so
done.
Far. Yeah. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later in the topic of the show. But
sorry, but yeah, it's amazing.
Dan's like, let's talk about it.
Yeah, now.
We will. Yeah. All right, let's get to story number 4. So the winners of the 2020 Golden Joystick Awards. So Dan, is the Golden Joysticks, is that UK based, the Golden Joysticks?
I'm pretty sure it is something like that. Yeah.
It's like isn't it like the British Gaming People's Awards or something? Some weird configuration of words that got switched over to the Golden Joystick Awards.
Yeah. Something like that. I can't remember.
Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I read it somewhere.
So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and read off the list of the winners, and then we can discuss them a little bit. So the best storytelling went to The Last of Us Part 2. Best multiplayer game went to Fall Guys. Yeah. Best visual design, The Last of Us 2. Best game expansion went to No Man's Sky Origins. Mobile game of the year, Lego Builder's Journey. Best audio, The Last of Us 2. Best indie game was Hades. And still playing, the game that people are still playing, went to Minecraft. Studio of the year was Naughty Dog. And esports game of the year, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. The best new streamer, broadcaster, I Am Brandon. Mocha, have you ever heard of I Am Brandon?
I haven't been able to catch a ton of his content, but I like his streams. So I'm glad for him. Congrats.
Yeah. Best family game, Fall Guys. Best gaming community, Minecraft. Best performer, Sandra Syed, who played or voiced Kamala Khan in the Avengers game. Breakthrough Award went to Inner Sloth, Among Us.
Mm-hmm.
Outstanding contribution, the gaming industry. PC Game of the Year, Death Stranding, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Best gaming hardware, the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3080. PlayStation Game of the Year, The Last of Us 2. Xbox Game of the Year, Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Nintendo Game of the Year, Animal Crossing New Horizons. Yep. And just one little programming note, actually. Next week's show, it will be a special episode, our Game of the Year episode. So hope you guys can all listen into that. We're going to have like a nice 5-person roundtable panel discussing our thoughts on our Game of the Year. So hope you can listen to that. Most wanted game was God of War Ragnarok. Critics' Choice, Hades. And finally, the ultimate game of the year went to The Last of Us 2. So, what's really interesting here is there's no Ghost of Tsushima anywhere. This was dominated by The Last of Us 2, it seems like.
Yeah, for real.
What do you guys think? Yeah.
Ladies first.
So I will definitely say that I didn't actually get a chance to play The Last of Us 2, but I have seen everyone stream it. So I've probably seen the game more often than I thought I would. And I will definitely say I was pleasantly impressed. It was beautiful. I was so excited to, I think the thing about me is I'm very, when I go into a game, I want something beautiful. I want colors. I want incredible graphics. I want to be able to see hairs on people's faces and stuff. So, and that's been such the coolest thing I think about coming into gaming, and at this particular era and time that I did, and stepping back into it. And The Last of Us 2 was so beautiful, and it was. I mean, I'm a big scaredy cat. It doesn't take a whole lot to scare me. I'm a pretty jumpy person, but I was pretty spooked. I don't myself own a PlayStation. I only own an Xbox, but it was still such a cool experience just to watch people kind of play it and move through it, and it seemed like it had a lot of nostalgia for the community. So I was impressed. And not surprised that it's on here so many times. I mean, I think just given the fact that it was it seemed very highly anticipated, and I think it definitely, I mean, as I said, never played a Last of Us game before, so correct me if I'm wrong. I think the response, at least from all of my friends who are fans, was super positive.
Cool. Dan, how about you?
Yeah, no, yes, yeah. So I've played it. It was pretty good. I think it's quite surprising that it got as many awards as it did, considering a lot of the hostility the game received for its various themes. Yeah. People a very vocal, I don't know, minority or not, but there was a lot of negativity about the game when it came out because of some of the themes. So to see it sweep these awards, I'd be very surprised if this happened to the Game Awards. I think.
Oh, and just one, Dan. Let me just hold you. I'm sorry, real quick. I want to say something about last week's episode when we were talking about the Game Awards. One of our listeners was pointing out to me that Jeff Keighley with the Game Awards, he does not select any of the award nominees. He said that it is the media outlets that do the selections. So the selection processes are from media outlets. But I just wanted to point that out. Yeah,
they're as equally worthless as Jeff Keighley is. So why doesn't he let Jeff Keighley choose? Hashtag let Jeff Keighley choose. I'm spearheading that internet movement.
Do it. I'm ready.
Oh God, the media. Oh God, what a horrifying thought. But yeah,
Who knows what we're gonna get? It could be anything, really.
Yeah, well, I think,
damn it, Dan, there goes our chances of being in the media now and getting stuff early.
Jeez,
near my mouth. But I think, that'll be very. I think Ghost will do much better in the States. I think. I don't think you'll get this. I don't think you're seeing as much Last of Us in the Game Awards as you did on the Golden Joysticks, which is very surprising. But really best perform. I mean, I haven't played Avengers, so I can't really say. But I would have thought if you're gonna sweep Last of Us for everything else, I mean, the voice acting and the performances in The Last of Us Part 2 are
Laura Bailey and Ashley Johnson. Yeah,
I'm sure. But I can't comment. But that's a surprise considering again because unlike famously the first Part 1 or Last of Us, the vocal performances in that were groundbreaking, just absolutely phenomenal, absolutely staggering. Yeah. And a lot of it does carry over into the second one. So interesting.
Well, I would say I think probably Sandra Syed, who won this award. I think her character Kamala Khan, she basically carried the Avengers game from what I've been hearing.
Oh yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, that's like £20 now. I might pick it up.
Yeah,
they can't give it
it's
away.
Like $29 now. Normally $59, down to $29 already.
Oops.
Yeah. Yeah, the same with I've been hearing a lot of negative stuff on Godfall too. That's that launch title. Yeah. But okay, so that was the Golden Joystick Awards for 2020. So now let's get to our topic of the show. So console wars, toxicity, tribalism in gaming. Yeah, dun dun dun. So, Mocha, are you a particular fan of one particular console?
I am a diehard Xbox fan. I haven't owned a PlayStation since the PS1.
Dun, 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 dun. And here it comes.
It's okay, Dan. You can blame me. I'm okay with it.
Wait, what? Again, could I flag? I haven't got anti-Xbox bias. I own them all except for the most recent one. Like, what the?
I'm just like at this point. I'm just like so ready for it. Anytime I'm like always asked to like, what's your favorite console? What's your preferred console? And I say Xbox. People are always like, there's always like so much grunting and protestation. I'm like, okay, but I mean, I don't know enough about, I think, the makeups and the engineering that go into making consoles and how they make the graphics work and how all of the, computer techie wizzo mumbo jumbo works in the grand scheme of things. So when somebody is like, I'm totally open to listening and talking and learning more about them. I want to, and I don't, which is why I always think it's so funny when people get in such a tizzy when they're like, well, the Xbox is better, and I'm like, okay, cool. I don't know what any of that means, but great. So I'm interested. Dan, tell me more.
I've nothing to say. I agree. I find it phenomenal now that, like back in the day when I was a kid, like, the console war was about who was coolest, Mario or Sonic, and now it's like
exactly.
And the PS5 has 15 teraflops.
Yeah,
the Xbox has 16.
Like, great.
And like, yeah, right. And let's not forget that it doesn't friggin' matter on any level, and B, no one even knows what half of these things mean.
Exactly.
Like the people, like the same people are like, oh well, the Xbox it's got a read speed of 14 gigs a second, and it's like,
I'm like, okay, great.
So what?
How much is that really affecting you in your day-to-day gaming experience?
Well, what does that even, like, people like bounce like things like teraflops. So what is a teraflop? What does that actually? How does that mean? How does that make the game any better? Right. And like, well, it's a higher number than that guy has, and it's like, what, really?
Cool.
Ugh. But no, again, I want to stress, I'm not anti-Xbox. I'm not anti-Microsoft. I've had them all. I've got the original Xbox. I've been there the whole time. And for the whole PS3, Xbox 360 generation, 360 was my go-to console until the very end.
I love the 360.
God damn.
Yeah, until they screwed the pooch at the E3 conference. Yeah.
Well, this is it. And then when the Xbox One, when they announced they announced the Xbox One, and they did it all wrong, and they paid the price for it. It's not me being anti-Microsoft. It's they screwed up. Big time.
Yeah, but hopefully, now they're on the rebound, though. I mean, with Game Pass and everything else. So.
Yeah,
I suppose.
But this toxic brand loyalty stuff. I mean, I just want to talk about one thing. I got into a kind of a war on Twitter a few months back when Ghost of Tsushima came out. And I had tweeted Yoshida Shuhei, who is one of the chief executives over at PlayStation. He's now, I think, running the indie division. But, I was talking to him, just tweeting that, I feel that the game is historically inaccurate because I have a graduate degree in Japanese history. And I just wanted to point that out. I'm thinking this is going to be a great game and all, but
so you're that guy.
Yeah. So
just actually, I think you'll find. Sorry, go on.
So I mean, all of these like toxic PlayStation fans just started saying, "Oh, you hate the game because you don't think it's historically accurate." Oh, blah, 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 and I got like 100 to 200 tweets back on all of this, and and I was just having a friendly conversation with Yoshida-san, You know, it's like, what
Right.
the hell? You know, it's just so ridiculous, you know?
Mm.
You know, and I want to bring up one of our listeners. He made a comment about
Whee!
tribalism pertaining to gaming and everything. So he wrote to us and said his name's Turn-Based Carl. He's a friend of the show, and he's one of our listeners. He says, tribalism is just part of human nature. We want to feel like we belong to a group, and once we do, we'll often overlook the negative aspects of that group. It's like joining a cult. Although, as toxic as the console wars can be, ultimately, they are harmless and rarely do they ever impact people in face-to-face interactions.
Bing, 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 bing.
Shutting someone down on social media is as simple as clicking block.
Yeah. Can we also agree to get rid of the word toxic in everything? It's so cringe.
Mm.
Like, you know, I mean, there are times when it applies, like, well, the much overused toxic masculinity, for example. That kind of is forgivable. But like toxic tribal game wars, is like, what? No, dude, that's not how it works. Yeah, we need to get rid of that. But no, he's absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, does anyone really care? I mean,
Yeah.
I've never met anyone who's hardcore one way or the other.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you guys have. Maybe you guys have met someone who's literally is like PlayStation or nothing, PlayStation or death.
Well, there's some streamers that are, I think Mocha, you would probably agree to this too, in our like Discord communities that are, you know, very PlayStation centric or very Xbox centric.
Yeah.
In my Discord community, especially, there's some, you know, streamers that only stream on PlayStation, or they only stream on PC, or they only stream on Xbox. You know?
Yeah. And I think like even I found that there's more of a war versus, you know, the console players versus the PC master race than there actually is within the console, you know, community itself, like PS5 versus Xbox, or, you know, whatever going forward. I think that the rivalries and the who does it better is definitely comes from more, at least in my Discord and in my community, that it's like, you know, from PC to console, because I have a lot of people who are on PC and play on console but are, you know, very devoted to PC, or some people who really just enjoy console play and are not interested in moving over to PC. So there's a little bit of rivalry there, but I think that even it doesn't even begin to the you know, the interwars within the console doesn't really begin to touch that. So I think it's crazy that it even gets blown to such a proportion. And I mean, I think occasionally, like every once in a while, I have somebody who comes into the stream and wants to talk about, you know, what console I like better and why I like Xbox better and why I like PS5, or why I don't why I don't own a PlayStation, or why I haven't owned one, or what my preferences are. And my answers are usually very cosmetic. I just prefer the interface and the UI and overall aesthetics of the Xbox and Microsoft. In just personally, I think it makes the games I prefer it. I think it looks better. It feels better. It's much more natural to me. I'm just not a fan of the PS5 UI and interface, and that has literally nothing to do with how the console works. So and normally when I bring things up, like, you know, they're like, oh, okay, because I'm not here for the I'm not here to get into like a techie fight with you. I don't know enough to do any of that.
Yeah.
Which that's quite interesting, because for me, like, it's the opposite. I find the Xbox UI like baffling. There's so much going on the screen. That's one of the reasons why I don't play as much. It's just like you put the PS5 on, and you've got that row of where your games are, and like settings at the end. Whereas if you want to like go to settings, you've got to press like the Microsoft button.
Yeah,
you got
and you have to
top
go
left.
to the pins. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I
There's
find
like
it
tertiary steps.
Yeah, there are.
A lot of intermediary and tertiary steps.
Yeah, so, I want to check my internet settings, so I've got to go to Microsoft, go to settings,
scroll
go
over to the
Wi-Fi,
settings button, open up the network thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I guess like and I think my brain is working almost in the exact opposite way down, where mine is like I look at the PS or the PlayStation interface, and I'm like, oh my god, it's like so stripped down, and it looks it's like too minimalist for me, and it just feels very like I don't know. It just doesn't, I don't want to say it feels intimidating, but it doesn't feel as like open and homey and welcoming as the Xbox does to me. But that could also be because, I've owned more Xboxes than I have PlayStations. I had, the original Xbox and I owned a 360, or I didn't own it. My dad owned a 360, so I got to see a little bit of that. And then, I'm coming. So maybe it's more of a familiarity thing than is so, but I don't know. I've never about the tech work, because I genuinely don't even know enough. I just like the aesthetics.
Well, it's like was in the show notes, like how essentially, because these two machines are currently they're almost indistinguishable now.
Right.
The Xbox and the PS5 are essentially like we said, like they're PCs in a box now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's going to come to a point where literally the only defining factor will be the UI and the library.
Right. But doesn't the PlayStation 5 have like 200 gigs less, or like a Call of Duty Cold War difference in memory though, or whatever?
Yeah, the hard drive, the SDD is about 200 gig less. That's after you install the initial operating system. It's 200 gig less.
See, that's weird. So obviously there's going to be some sort of I haven't read them. I've read the headline, but I haven't read the details as to why. But I think it's probably some sort of recovery partition on there, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
That's taking up a lot of your hard disk space. But of course, all these things are going to get shaved down as they get better with the tech. But yeah, having that much less, having an already limited hard drive,
right?
And we know that the games are going to be absolutely colossal. To have 200 gig missing
it's a whole
big
game.
Issue.
That's a whole game.
Yeah, at least, yeah.
And I mean, it's even crazier to me, like, now that we're moving into these, I play the Elder Scrolls, and that's about 70 gig, and I think that's a lot. Like, I was like, geez, that's a lot. And now, looking at these games, more of them are creeping up towards the 200 range, and I'm like, well, at some point, are we, for those of us when everybody does eventually update to these new consoles, are we all going to be forced to get external hard drives? Because if you have 3 games that are 200 gigabytes a piece, that's for a PS5, that's your whole hard drive. For the you can only have 4. I mean, not to say that you would, but maybe you have 2 large games, because Valhalla, I don't know how big Valhalla is, but I mean, Call of Duty Cold War being 200 gigabytes to me is mind blowing. I mean, we've been like approaching that, over time 100%, but 200 gigabytes. I mean, it's like 190 or something, but that is, to me, colossal. So I just, that's something that I've been thinking about. Is just like worried about, are we really going to have the space to have games? Like, now is memory going to be a huge issue as the games get bigger? Because nobody seems to be flinching about it. They're like, yep, we're getting it. Download it right now.
Well, they're introducing the options now in a lot of these games, like in Call of Duty. You can only, if you want, you can just download the multiplayer part of the game, or you can download the campaign,
right?
Which would save space on your hard disk.
Totally.
So, and then all of you PS4 owners out there, if you're getting Cyberpunk on PS4, and if you're getting it on disc, you're getting 2 discs.
Whoa.
So, yeah. Whereas, the new consoles, just 1 disc, because I think the HD Blu-rays now are going to be, 100 gig capacity on the HD Blu-rays. So yeah, you're going to have 2 discs, if you get it on PS4 or on,
but the same with Red Dead. One will be an install disc and one will be the play disc. That's not really that new or revolutionary. But it's quite interesting, because I want to know how much of the Call of Duty size. I want to know how much of that is sloppy programming and sloppy compression.
Right.
Because back in the day, when you had very limited amounts of space, there was amazing coding magic going on to fit these giant experiences into tiny amounts of memory. And now that the PS5 and the new Xbox are kind of like, oh, well, we've got essentially infinite memory, infinite disk drive, just make what you want. So people kind of go, well, I don't need to worry about that anymore. I don't need to make my game, as small as possible. Yeah, because I can just...
as refined.
Yeah, exactly. I can just fill your hard drive. I can patch it out later with massive update patches further down the line, because everyone's got broadband now. I don't have to make it as small as possible, because that limitation's not there anymore.
Yep.
It'll be interesting to see if they rein this in a bit.
Yeah.
But again, like same with everything. Once they get better at the program, once they know the machine's better, all these sizes will hopefully level out.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so that was our topic of the show: console wars, tribal toxicity, and dun dun dun. So
kill all Xbox players.
PS players must die. We're going down.
That's why we are a multi-platform gaming news podcast. Multi-platform. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so it's time for Dan. It's time for your retro topic of the week. Retro topic of the week.
I was thinking about as just a continuation of this theme, really, just more about on the whole, tribalism. Previously, if you look at the timeline, it's actually really quite interesting. So we'll start with think about the consoles, like the 80s consoles. So famous, you had Nintendo. Well, in the beginning, you had Nintendo versus no one. Then you had Nintendo versus Sega. They had Nintendo versus, actually, she had PlayStation versus Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
And then actually, if you go back farther,
yeah.
I mean, you had Atari, and then Intellivision came out.
Yeah,
and so it was for like a year or two. There was a kind of a war between Atari and Intellivision.
See, I would agree if Atari hadn't sold 10-1 to Intellivision.
Mm.
I mean, there was a Fairchild Channel F as well at the same time, and ColecoVision. Fundamentally, though, these games all got absolutely humped by Atari. So it was Atari versus everyone in the late 70s, 80s. Yeah. Then you had PlayStation versus Nintendo and everyone else. Then you had PlayStation versus Xbox, which is kind of where we are now. Nintendo's kind of taken a back seat.
Mm-hmm.
But prior to all this, when I was a wee baby in the playground,
just a while ago,
we had the microcomputer rivalries, flame wars, and all that jazz. A toxic microcomputer fans. So we had people who were like hardcore BBC Micro fans. We had people who were hardcore ZX Spectrum fans. We had people who were hardcore Commodore 64 fans. Now, ultimately, Commodore 64 kind of won because that was in the States. So they had that massive stateside library of people buying the machines that they came to the UK and people buying the machines over there.
Mm.
But traditionally, the plucky underdog, the ZX Spectrum, is kind of held as kind of like the winner, really, I suppose, of the 80s micro console battle. And if anyone is interested, I think it's on YouTube. There's a really, really interesting faux documentary / reenactment of the battle, the rivalry between Acorn and Sinclair, how they both raced to win a lucrative government and BBC contract to make a home computer that people could buy, and then there would be a TV show to be made about it. It's called Microman. If you're interested in like one of the earliest video game kind of rivalries, Microman, it's on YouTube right now. Check out. And my employer, the Center for Computer History, supplied parts and staff in the making of that. So it's also fairly accurate. So these rivalries are nothing new, man. I remember when I was at school, I was a hardcore Amstrad CPC represent. I was a hardcore Amstrad player, and that was kind of like the minority. Against all the Spectrum boys and the Commodore people. What are you guys? What are the earliest wars that you remember?
Like I mentioned earlier, the Atari 2600 versus the Intellivision, and then after the 2600, you had the 5200 come out. The Commodore 64 was, getting into the mix there with the, on the PC end, in a sense, with the Apple IIe. I think that's as far back as I go. How about you, Mocha?
I think the PS1 versus Nintendo in general was really the first console that I owned, and kind of the first, when I was starting to get older and when Nintendo was, in my opinion, dominating the mobile console world. And that was more so around when the PS2 came out. But when I had one, I was, I had a Game Boy and I had a PS1, and it was just like, I think I liked the PS1 more just because I really enjoyed the sitting in front of the TV and playing the game versus the small screen on the Game Boy. But that was my first console wars, if you even want to call it that even counts.
Yeah,
that was pretty good. I mean, those were the best of times. The PS1 and the N64 console war was pretty amazing. Yeah, I remember being hardcore on Nintendo side,
yes,
battling. Oh, good times.
Some Zelda.
Yeah, for real. And then poor old Saturn, just in the corner, like just gently sobbing.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was in college back in the early '90s, Mocha, that tells you how old I am, I guess.
I was thinking to myself, I was like, oh, Commodore 64, I'm about to look like a baby.
Yeah, it was like Dan and I have been talking about many times before, the console war between Sega and Nintendo.
Yes.
I mean, the early '90s. I mean, when Sega was on the rise in the U.S.,
what a time
Sega
to be
of America.
Alive.
Oh yeah,
It's like
that
the
was
golden
amazing.
age right there, man. Those are prime time.
Yeah, and I have to admit I was more on the Genesis side of things, but Nintendo too. But I was more into the sports games back then, and you can get a lot of the sports games on the Genesis. But yeah,
can we retroactively go back and erase the name Genesis because it sucks?
I mean,
is that all right?
I don't think anybody's going to argue with you.
It's been 30 years now. We'll go back and pretend it didn't happen. We'll go back and pretend that.
Everybody just stay calm.
We'll go back and we'll give it its proper name. But yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Okay, so it's time. Thanks for the retro topic of the week, Dan. So now we're moving on to our upcoming new and upcoming video game releases via Metacritic for the week of November 30th through December 6th. And there are 10 games on the list here. So I'm going to run through them quickly here. So the first game on the list, Chronos Before the Ashes, on December 1st for PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Nintendo Switch, and for Google Stadia as well. So have you guys heard of this game, Chronos?
I have not heard of this game.
Yeah, an adventure RPG with a refreshing combination of adventure game elements and RPG mechanics. Deep combat, a variety of weapons, abilities, and powers are available to the player in the pursuit of their quest. Unique aging mechanics. Every time the player dies, they age 1 year. So from Gunfire Games, coming out on the 1st of December. Chronos. Empire of Sin. Empire of Sin comes out on December 1st for PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Nintendo Switch. So this is kind of similar in a sense to the Mafia games. Yeah. Empire of Sin, the strategy game from Romero Games and Paradox Interactive. Puts you at the heart of the ruthless criminal underworld of 1920s Prohibition-era Chicago. It's up to you to hustle, charm, and intimidate your way to the top of the pile and do whatever it takes to stay there. Yeah.
All right.
So it looks pretty good.
Is that Romero Games in? Oh, it is John Romero. Nice. Very cool. And his wife, Brenda. Okay, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Twin Mirror. So this has been getting a lot of publicity lately. Twin Mirror comes out for PS4, Xbox One, and PC on December 1st. Yeah. So it's action adventure. Sam, a 33-year-old man recovering from a recent breakup, returns to his hometown, Basswood, West Virginia, for the funeral of his best friend. Understandably depressed and bitter, he feels completely out of sorts and out of place. But when he wakes up in his hotel room with a bloody shirt and no memory of his whereabouts the previous night, he embarks on a twisted investigation to find the truth. So, yeah. Another type of mystery.
It sounds moody.
Yeah, very moody. Yeah.
It kind of sounds like something that I don't know what the play style is like, but it kind of sounds like something that might be. Why is the name of the game escaping me? The one where you're the girl who has the power to turn back time, and it's the
Life is Strange.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw you streaming Life is Strange too.
I was like, I streamed it. I did like a 24-hour stream, and I streamed it. And I am not the biggest fan of that particular playstyle, but it was pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, next on the list, Worms Rumble on December 1st, Battle Royale for PS5, PS4, and PC. Worms Rumble.
Blimey. I mean,
yeah, strategy real-time game. Yeah. Worms Rumble is Worms like you've never played it before, with intense real-time, arena-based, 32-player cross-platform combat.
Wow.
Get ready for deathmatch and last worm standing modes where you only ever have a holy hand grenade away from death. So,
all right.
yeah.
That's
So that
gotta
comes out. Yeah, comes out on December 1st. Next up, Immortals: Phoenix Rising. So this is a game from Ubisoft that was kind of similar in a sense to Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and they spent some time tweaking the game apparently. So it comes out on December 3rd for PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X, Xbox One, PC, Nintendo Switch, and Google Stadia. Google Stadia getting their branding in here a little bit. So, formerly titled Gods and Monsters, Immortals: Phoenix Rising brings grand mythological adventure to life. Play as Phoenix, a new winged demigod, on a quest to save the Greek gods. The fate of the world is at stake. You are the gods' last hope. So, action adventure open world on December 3rd.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Bloodstained: Ritual of the Night. So it's coming out on December 4th for mobile, for iOS.
Oh.
Yeah. The Bloodstained mobile. Dragon Quest XI: Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition comes out on December 4th for PS4, Xbox One, and PC, and later at a later date for more platforms. Dan, you've played the Dragon Quest series, haven't you?
I've played a couple. Yeah, not any great depth because they're very, very long.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Mocha, how about you? Yeah.
I think I played maybe one, but again, it was quite long and hard to get through, I think, and I probably gave up halfway through. But I do remember playing a little bit of one. I can't remember which one though.
Next up, Fire Emblem: Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light, coming in the US on December 4th. So, and also coming to Nintendo Switch, actually. Play the Famicom Classic that started the Fire Emblem legacy, localized for the first time. Meet Marth and recruit some of the most beloved Fire Emblem characters in their 8-bit glory as you play through all 25 chapters of this classic Famicom tactical role-playing game. So, Dan, have you played this one?
No, but I was just thinking, like the modern Fire Emblems and these ones are going to be very, very different. I can just imagine a bunch of people going, "Oh, I played that on the DS. So I'm going to run back and play the original ones." And just, I don't know. I wonder how disappointed people will be in these games. I don't know, because like I love the Metroid series. It's my favorite series of all time. I've played them all except for like the NES one because I just can't get into it. It's just too much of a grind. So I'm thinking that a similar sort of thing will happen. Like people will be like, "Oh, brilliant! I can go back to the start," and it'll be like, "Oh, this is impenetrably ruthless." So I don't know, but no, it's very cool. I'll be getting it obviously because I want to play it. I want to see where it all started. But yeah.
Cool. Mocha, have you played the Fire Emblem series?
I have never played any Fire Emblems, but I have a good amount of friends who are big fans. So
cool. All right, next up, Fitness Boxing 2: Rhythm and Exercise for Nintendo Switch on December 4th. So work out at home and punch to the beat. Jab, uppercut, dodge, and more to catchy pop tunes in this rhythmic boxing game. Pass a Joy-Con controller to an exercise buddy and box to the beat together. Customize your workout with the help of a virtual instructor. So it's weird. It seems like there's a ton of rhythm games coming out, aren't there? Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah, especially with the launches of the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. A lot of stuff. And finally on the list, Madden 21, Next Level on December 4th for PS5 and Xbox Series X and Series S. Players on the sidelines have player likeness, name, body type, and skin type. Players will jump out of the way of the ball, out of bounds, or move out of the way when a player runs or is pushed out of bounds. Sideline characters are set up to watch and react to the play. So, yeah, Madden 21, which, in my opinion, is probably not any different from Madden 20 or Madden 19.
Probably not.
Or Madden 18, for that matter.
Yeah.
Probably not much different.
Yeah. All of these sports games, I mean, just like cosmetic changes. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Chronos, Before the Ashes, Empire of Sin, Twin Mirror, Worms Rumble, Immortals, Phoenix Rising, Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, Dragon Quest XI-S, Fire Emblem, Fitness Boxing 2, and Madden 21. So, guys, what is your pick of the week? For me, I think I'd be interested in Empire of Sin. Actually, want to see how close that is to the Mafia series. Dan, what about you? What's your choice for this week? Is it Fire Emblem? Or
it might be, yeah. Empire Sin looks interesting. I haven't seen the trailer. Have you?
No, not yet. I haven't seen a trailer yet for that. But I've seen the trailer for Empire of Sin, though.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. Have you seen the trailer for Empire Sin? Okay, that's.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it. It looks a little bit on lines of Mafia.
Yeah.
Like the storyline and everything. When it comes to the gangs.
Yeah.
In Chicago in the 20s. So more on the lines of maybe a Mafia 1. But I think that's my choice. Yeah. Mocha, how about you?
I think either Worms Rumble or Twin Mirror. I'm pretty excited about both of those. I love a good fad or trend game like Fall Guys or Phasmophobia, and I feel like Worms Rumble looks like it's around the same on the same alley, but I also love a game where I can play with multiple other people online. I love a massive multiplayer online format, so seems exciting.
Yeah. All right. So those are the new and upcoming games for the week of November 30th through December 6th. All right. So before we conclude the episode, I want to let everyone know where you can find me on social media. On social media, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at expat_2020 and on my YouTube channel, Expat2020 Gaming, where you can see my latest videos related to new game releases, game trailer impressions, as well as this podcast. You can also find me on Facebook at Expat2020, and I have a Discord server named the Expat2020 Arena with a great community where all of you are welcome to join and support other content creators, discuss anything and everything related to video games, promote your live streaming, as well as leave questions and comments for the podcast. Finally, I'm a live streamer and a Twitch affiliate, and you can catch my live streams on twitch.tv/expat2020, as well as on my website for content creation at expat2020.live. And one thing I want to say, I want to make an announcement about my Twitch channel for next week. From next week, Monday through Fridays, I'm going to be doing a supplement to this podcast. It's going to be called The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news weekday live stream, where for about 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. Thanks, Dan. For about 20 to 30 minutes. For about 20 to 30 minutes, I will go through one news story from that particular day. And of course, those news stories will be, bundled together into this podcast, on our regular podcast on Saturdays. Awesome. So I hope you can join me for that as well. So
I'll be there.
Me too.
Yeah, so it'll be, thank you guys. So it'll be from next week, starting on Monday. So I hope all of you can join me for that. So that does it for me. Mocha, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram. On Twitter, it's a little bit of a weird handle. It's at MCHABUTTRSTREMS, which spells Mocha Butter Streams with less characters. And then you can also find me on Instagram at Mocha Butter Streams, spelled normally. And you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Mocha Butter, MOCHBUTTER.
All right. Thank you, Mocha, and we really appreciate you coming on the show today, and we really want to have you on again. So thank you very much for coming on today.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure. It's so fun. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thanks again.
Yeah. And Dan, what's going on this week? Anything at the Center for Computing History or anything like that? And where can people find you on social media?
I have a Twitch which I stream on 3 times a year. It's press start to game.
That's perfect.
All one word. I know, right? Press start to game, all one word. Press start to game. That's my Twitch channel. I have a similar one on YouTube, a similarly neglected channel, same name, but with a space between start and 2. I can't remember. Set of community history, we're not doing much. We got some Christmas things coming up. There's another virtual gaming history tour happening early December, and on the 18th or so, I think, or mid-December-ish, me and another guy, we're doing a tour of Christmas games. A live stream tour of the centre, a bunch of different machines, bunch of different Christmas games running on them. Further details available at computinghistory.org.uk, and just find the events page, and it's all in there. We'd love to see you.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you so much, Dan. And
You.
to end the show today, our indie recording artist spotlight of the week, Ben Goldstein, who is from Bondi Beach, Australia. Ben's melodic and harmonic taste has been influenced by 60s and 70s pop folk, to which he adds funk and reggae influences. From his album titled Live Forever, and the song is called Music for the Soul. This has been The Arena, a multi-platform gaming news podcast. I'm your host, Expat 2020, along with my co-host Dan and our special guest today, Mocha Butter. We hope to see you in the next one. Take care, everyone. Peace out.
Bye.
Take me to the streets so I can celebrate. Never knew a feeling better than today. It means to a beginning of a brighter day. Letting in a feeling, mending what we break. Find the solace in the dissonance. You control the way you see the world. We've come so far, and now let go. Let the feeling take its toll. We've worked so hard, now don't you know? This is music for the soul. Let the music take control. Push away the pain. Life is a playground, you can play the game. Look to the horizon, the sun is on the way. Move till the nighttime, then we'll fade away. Find the solace in a dissonance. You control the way you see the world. So far, and now let go. Let the feeling take its toll. We've worked so hard, now don't you know? This is music for the soul.